on a yoga mat or a flat surface, you will lie on your back and extend your legs out. I want you to take a moment and find your neutral spine, checking in the distance between your lower back and the floor. And from there, I would like you to flatten your lower back and relax. And you will do that a few times. So you're flattening your lower back and relaxing. You can try to exaggerate the pressing of the lower back on the floor and see if you can close the 12th rib and the hip bone. So you want to do that a few times and feel your abdominals contracting, also your glutes contracting. If you don't feel this, that's okay, but over time you will. Now you bring your feet a little bit closer to your hips and you will do the same from neutral to flat spine, bracing your abdominals. Relax and brace. And now not only you will brace, but you will lift a little bit your tailbone off the floor. Place your tailbone down, neutral spine, last one, and now you lift just a little bit. Keep your knees towards each other, toes are pointing forward. You may be feeling a little bit of your hamstrings working, and release. Okay, excellent. Now, bring the feet as close to your hips as you can. And from here, tuck the tailbone under and slowly bring the hips all the way up so that the knees, hips and shoulders are in a straight line. You're keeping the knees towards each other. You want to avoid letting the knees go out. For this, pressing the ball of the foot on the floor will help. Option 1, you stay here. Option 2, you lift your arms up towards the ceiling and you place them back down. Without letting the hips drop, you continue to lift and lower your arms. When you lift your arms, make sure the back of the shoulder is still connected to the floor and continue down. Always check that the ball of the foot is in contact with the floor and you don't end up lifting the inside of the foot. If you do that, if you notice that lifting the inside of the foot and then you place the ball of the foot down, you will notice that this brings some recruitment to the inside of your thighs. Last time you lift your arms up, if you have been doing this variation, and now slowly lower your tailbone towards the floor up until the hips hover off the floor, and then all the way up. Contract the glutes at the top and lower, and all the way up, and continue lower and up. Lower. What lower? I don't know what lower, but you lower your hips on the floor, probably that's what I wanted to say. And every time you bring your hips all the way up, you make sure that knees, hips and shoulders are in a straight line. You don't want to lift halfway up and stop there. And contract the glutes at the top. Last 5 here. Last 4. Remember every time to contract the glutes at the top. Last 3. Last 2. And last 1. Nice. From here, you bring your hands down, you press your hands on the floor, and without letting the hips drop, you try to lift one foot a little bit off the floor and place it down. And slowly do the same thing on the other side. And repeat. And repeat. We're going to do one last on each side. One side might come a little bit easier for you. And repeat. From there, lower your hips down on the floor, bring your knees towards your armpits and pull the knees towards the armpits, helping this way the lower back to flatten on the floor. Release, heels down, still very close to the hips, and tailbone under, and lift your hips up. This time you are only going to hold for a few seconds without moving. Still toes towards each other, still knees towards each other, even though the front of the foot is not touching the floor. Pull the navel in. If pulling the navel in hurts your lower back, you can brace. You can close the space between the 12th rib and the hip bone. But if you don't feel any pain with navel in, just hold navel in. Last 30 seconds here. Hopefully by now you're feeling your glutes working. Slowly coming to the end of this hold. So stay, 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 and release. Excellent. Release. One more time. Knees towards the armpits. And come out. We're going to go into plank straight away. So you have hands underneath the shoulders or forearms underneath the shoulders. You choose what you want. I will be demonstrating the version with knees straight, but if you want knees down, is absolutely fine. So you start, tuck the tailbone under, contract the glutes. And as I mentioned, you can have either arms or arms straight or elbows bent and forearms on the floor. For this sequence, you are welcome to alternate between the two. So while holding only one of the two for a period will be harder, if you move from one to the other, you will find it a bit easier. So at any point you want, if you're with straight arms, you come down, or if you're on forearms, at any point you want, you come up. Try to maintain a small recruitment in your glutes. Of course, another way to make it easier is to bring the knees down on the floor. As for the upper back, in a plank, you want to be protracting your scapula. So now I'm retracting my scapula, my shoulder blades are coming towards each other, now I'm protracting my scapula. So you want to maintain as much as possible a protraction. Last 30 seconds here. Coming slowly to the end of this hold. And release. We're going to go one more time back into a bridge. And feet close to the hips. See if you can get hold of the back of your feet with your fingers, but if not, that's okay. Maybe it will happen over time. And from there, you lift one leg up. You can keep your knee bent if keeping it straight is a little bit hard for you. Let's start with the right leg up, and slowly you tuck the tailbone under and lift your hip. Hold here. One, lower, and all the way back up. Just 5 times, and lower, and all the way up. And last one. Okay, slowly you release, and make sure when your foot reaches for the floor, the hip of that side is elevated. From there, you lower your hips down. You adjust your feet in relation to your upper body. In case you have slided further away, you lift the opposite leg up and again, tuck the tailbone under and lift. And again, the 5 repetitions of lowering your hips down and all the way up. Don't let the hips rest. Just when they're about to touch the floor, you start going back up. 3 and 2 and last one. And release. Again, slowly bringing your foot down on the floor. And slowly bringing your hips down. This time you will bring the knees towards your chest instead of your armpits and try to press the lower back on the floor. And relax in neutral position. Let the knees go away from your chest. One more time. Knees close to each other and press your lower back on the floor. And last one. Beautiful. Now, from here, you will bring a right ankle on top of the left knee, figure 4 shape with your legs, and tuck the tailbone under, letting the right knee go out to the side, and you stay here. At this stage, both glutes are contracting. When you had one leg up towards the ceiling, only the glute of the foot that was on the floor would be contracting. But in this instance, both of them are contracting. Chances are that the glute of the right leg is actually contracting more than the left. And slowly you release, you position your foot down on the floor, you bring your hips down and you switch side. Left ankle on top of the right knee, tuck the tailbone under, lift, and again, you will hold here. The goal with all of these unilateral exercises is to keep the hips square. So while the two legs are doing something different, you are aiming to keep your hips square. One side might feel easier than the other. In general, when I have the left foot off the floor and this side feels harder, it means that my right glute is weaker. Last 5 seconds here. And release again, very slowly. I position my feet, make sure my hips are again square, and then I lower my hips down. We're gonna roll on our plank, and this time, again, you will have the opportunity to go from straight to bent arms, but I will be just doing the bent arm version with forearms down. Forearms down, for a lot of people, it will come easier to have the hands together. It is fine to do that for the purpose of this video. In general, I prefer if you are keeping the forearms parallel, like you can see me doing here. This has to do with the shoulder setup and how comfortable you are in the external rotation. But as we are primarily addressing glutes here, you can do whatever you want with your hands. Again, a gentle contraction of the glutes. Don't need to exaggerate it, but if you feel pain in your lower back, try to recruit them more and see if that helps with the pain. Navel in will also help. Again, scapular protraction. We're going to hold for 1 more minute. Breathe softly. So when holding a plank, you may find that breathing is not easy. That's normal. Try to either take sips of breath, primarily focus on the inhalation, or you can establish a soft slow breathing. Yeah, if it is hard for you, at least for the duration that you're holding, don't expect to breathe regularly. It's normal to be your breath to be challenged. If you have a side mirror, it might be good to be checking it every so often to see what your alignment is like. In planks, we want to keep shoulder, hips, and heels in a straight line. And slowly release. That's it. And this is a sort of workout that will be very safe. So even if you feel a little bit sore in your lower back, you can repeat soon after, as it will condition it, and before you know it, you will feel your back strong as well as your glutes.